Welcome, everyone. I'm Renee Hulcatanzano. I'm the Vice President of External Affairs at Swipe Out Hunger. I use she, her pronouns, and it's an honor to be your host today. This is one of my favorite times of year where we come together and reflect on everything we've achieved as an organization and as a community. And I want to just say thank you to everyone who's on this call, everyone in our network, our communities, our organizations for joining us. Your partnership is what makes this movement possible. So again, thank you so much. Today is we're going to be going over our impact over the last 12 months. It's not that we're going to just share updates. We're actually taking a moment to celebrate our wins, our resilience, and the community we've created here together. And just a quick rundown of the agenda. So first, we're going to look at some of the big shifts that are happening currently around higher education and basic needs. Then I'm going to work with my department leads who are present here today to kind of highlight what each of our programs has made possible this year. We're going to follow that up with a Q&A. We have a couple prepared questions for the panelists, but after that, if we have time, I really want to open it up to the group, the audience. So if you have questions that we're not answering, save them for the Q&A function on Zoom, and we'll hopefully get to that towards the end of the session here today. And then finally, I wouldn't be doing my job as External Affairs VP if I didn't call you into action and give you ways to stay more involved in the movement going forward. A quick reminder, this session is recorded, and you can dive deeper into our impact report. I know some of you got a sneak peek if you registered of our impact report, but just as a reminder, it can be found at swipeouthehunger.org/2025 impact. All really important information. So now I'm going to kick things off. I want for you to meet the wonderful team that is assembled here today from Swipe Out Hunger. They're going to tell you their name, their pronouns, their position, as well as how long they've been at Swipe Out Hunger. So I'm going to kick it off to Sadaf first.
Hi, everyone. So excited to be here today. My name is Sadaf Alexander. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the External Communications Manager for Swipe Out Hunger. This is my third week working with Swipe Out Hunger, and I am so excited to be here with all of you. And I will go ahead and pass over to Sydney.
Thank you, Sadaf. Hi, my name is Sydney Monaghan. I am the Director of Programs here at Swipe Out Hunger, she, her pronouns. I have been with Swipe coming up on 3 years. So yeah, very excited about that. I would love to pass this on off to Vanessa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vanessa Onstad. I am the VP of Mission Impact here at Swipe Out Hunger. I'm rounding out my third month almost. I'm really excited to be here. Newest leadership member on the team. Let me pass it over to Renee to officially introduce herself.
Hi, guys. Again, I'm Renee Hulcatanzano, the VP of Mission Impact. I use she, her pronouns. I've been at Swipe for almost 4 years. You may recognize my name from leading philanthropic partnerships previously. I've been in this new role for, gosh, I think almost 5 months now. And then finally, our fearless leader, Amy.
Thanks, Renee. My name's Jamie Hansen. I'm the executive director. I've been with the organization just over 3 years. My pronouns are she, they. And I am super excited to chat with you all. It's lovely to see so many familiar names. I wish I could also see your faces, but just know that I'm waving aggressively at you through this screen. I'm going to launch right in because, again, time is so valuable these days. And I know that you sit in front of your screen so many hours a day. So first off, thank you just for being here. Thank you for being so energetic about the mission and our shared passion for keeping students enrolled so that they can pursue their academic goals. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I know it's a busy time of year and you all do so incredibly much. So you probably have seen the news once or twice. There's a couple of things impacting the work that we're doing. National policy is shifting pretty dramatically, pretty quickly. And of course, budgets that are being created and implemented are shifting alongside them. So we're a little concerned and we're certainly paying attention to a couple of spaces that I want to make sure that I share with you all. The cost of food is increasing. I know all of us, our grocery bill, the cost of eggs has been a constant conversation. And part of that is because food access is decreasing. Our food supply chain never really recovered from the pandemic, the earlier months of the pandemic. And we're continuing to struggle with getting enough nutritious food across the country. That coupled with changes in agricultural practices, land usage, and other factors that are affecting produce and protein, we know that our food access is going to decrease and food costs will continue to rise. But how does that all alter a student's course in higher education? Well, a couple of elements that we want to make sure that we're paying attention to are SNAP impacts. The SNAP cuts that all of you have heard about, millions of dollars affecting SNAP availability across the country. In addition to those cuts to SNAP, we're also seeing a shift in federal funding that provided overhead and implementation for states to implement the program. It's now shifting and the burden is on the states. That means the state's budget is going to be impacted pretty negatively. They're going to need to come up with millions of dollars to cover those overhead costs. And that's going to shift policies like our hunger-free campus legislation, which will become harder to pass. So not only did SNAP cuts deprioritize a demographic that was already deprioritized, aka college students, but now we know that we're going to see basic needs and security increase. Our friends over at the Hope Center reported a 59% rate of students facing at least one basic needs insecurity, housing and food being the most common. So we're watching that and seeing with these SNAP cuts, what is that going to do to students accessing food and housing in the future, near future? Of course, enrollment rates, basic needs insecurity, as I've already mentioned, that includes housing and food, is a significant and increasing driver of students leaving higher education or never enrolling in the first place. So we're wondering if that 59% is going to increase in the coming years. And Sydney, a little later on, is going to touch base with some of the exciting survey, partnerships we have coming up to make sure we track those numbers. In addition to food, we also know that there's been some attacks on higher education overall. Mostly through the loan forgiveness program and the Pell Grant restrictions. That is only going to deepen the financial impact on students. When you are living paycheck to paycheck, or you're working in shift work, or you're trying to move from work into full-time school, rent eats first, and you have to pay your bills. And that tuition, the cost of books, and all the associated expenses of attending higher education become less of a priority. So the new limits on federal student lending may also drive borrowers into the private loan market, potentially resulting in an increase in predatory lending practices. So that's something that we're a little concerned about and watching. These policy changes also increase the feelings overall of futility in higher education, which only gives students another reason to exit or never enroll in the first place. All of this is interconnected. The attacks on higher education, the decreasing availability and increasing food costs mean that higher education will be deprioritized. What are we doing about it? That's more important. That's why you all are here. I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer right off the bat, but I just had to get the ugly mess out of the way. You all know it, but let's set the stage together, shall we? So what is Swipe doing about it? Our priority solutions in the current fiscal year include 2 areas that will only increase our impact on campus solutions and state solutions. So our on-campus solutions, again, programmatic stuff that you'll hear from Sydney here in just a hot minute. That's grant making, that is toolkits, that Swipe session, that's community building, again, for staff and students involved in anti-hunger programming on campuses. But also our state solutions, that's the advocacy efforts that we have been pushing over the last almost, oh my gosh, it's 8 years now. 2017 was the passage of the first hunger-free campus bill in California. So over the last 8 years, hunger-free campus has been our core solution for states. With these shifts, all of the federal shifts that I've already outlined, states are going to be scrambling to make their budget work. So state solutions now encompasses more strategic and little p policy efforts that can increase food in the hands of students. This is going to be a difficult time. Our goal is that students won't have to choose between food and their education. We want to keep them enrolled. So all of that to say that, again, there's 2 priority areas that we want to enhance in the coming year so that our on-campus solutions and state solutions can continue to be as effective as we want them to be. The first is community engagement. We have got to get creative. We have got to build a movement that pulls together our voices, our resources, that allows us to support one another in our efforts and allows us a little bit more agility in that immediate response on a more local level. When I say local level, I think of state level, I think of a community level, wherever there's an opportunity where champions are coming together to push forward changes and solutions, we want to help support them. So this new department, community engagement, will really help drive the student voice forward and be the glue between advocacy, programs, fundraising, storytelling, all with the intention again of how do we support one another to get to those solutions. It's the glue. It's the hub of the spoke. One example we have of community engagement is something we've been working on in the past year, and that's the National Coalition for College Student Essential Needs, abbreviated to INSEN, NCCSEN. What INSEN is, it's a national momentum across policy, research, student voices, and narrative change. We have 50 peer organizations that have signed up to be involved in one way or another. And as SWIPE is one of the backbone supporters of this coalition, we are super stoked by the progress we've already been able to make together. Just the bare minimum of increased communications amongst these different organizations and individuals and the community we've been able to build, the resource sharing, the collaborative space, all of that has been altering for the sector, which is incredible. But we know we can do more. We can do more on a local level and a state level. So we'd like to keep building that out. The second area is narrative change. This is probably something you've heard frequently around how do we ensure that the reality of hunger in higher education is expressed, but also how do we combat the mis and disinformation that's really preventing success on campus and in the Capitol building. There's going to be a lot of organizations doing this work, I imagine, in the coming years. We've seen some pretty inflammatory pieces come out from the USDA that's perpetuating disinformation around SNAP. We need to make sure that we are collecting and distributing stories about those realities of college student hunger, who students are today. The demographics are completely different than they were 15, 20 years ago. And then how they navigate higher education in relation to basic essentials. We have to dispel this stereotype that hunger doesn't exist on my campus or that it's a rite of passage in order to be successful in our on-campus solutions or our state solutions. It has to be dispelled. We need to change the hearts and minds of decision makers in order to create that impact for students. Okay, I jumped ahead. That's the exciting thing that we're looking forward to. But as Renee already said, we have got to celebrate a hot second for what we've done in 25. It is necessary. Nonprofits don't champion and celebrate themselves enough, and I want to be a good example. So first off, collective sigh, everyone. What a year. What a 9 months it's been. A lot has changed, as many of you all know and have been a part of. And I just want to say a big public thank you to the Swipe Out Hunger team, which I'm including all of the students and all of the campus staff that are heavily involved in our work. The commitment that each of you has shown to our central vision of ending college hunger has been inspirational. So thank you, and take a deep breath. So we won't be changing. Our pillars are solid, but we did have to alter our strategies pretty significantly this year. So again, celebrating the resiliency, celebrating the agility of the team. When we set aside our proactive plans for SNAP expansion and we had to double down on those state solutions, we knew we had to increase our capacity to bring on more partnerships. Corporate partners, shout out Mariella on our team. We knew that we needed to increase our efforts in getting food, hygiene products, refrigeration, software, other capacity building resources onto programs to increase their effectiveness. And we did that. You're going to hear about it here in a hot minute. I'm not going to blow anyone's spot here because Sydney and Vanessa have some great things to chat about, but we were able to do that. And I'm so proud of the team. And of course, I'm so proud of all of us in this sector for staying focused. There is so much out there affecting what we do, where we should go. It's distracting. And it's assaulting our mission. It feels like a daily practice of patience. So the team knows that the work that all of us do as a community, it's real, it's powerful, and it's needed now more than ever. So I hope that each of you pat yourselves on the back because I have to celebrate that for you. It is incredible. I know it feels like a lot every single day. We see it. We see you. We see the great impact that you're having. So before I kick it over to Sydney to share more about those on-campus solutions, I just wanted again to say thank you so very much. Your time, your energy in this space, it doesn't go unnoticed. It is so wonderful to see passionate champions of basic essentials in higher education, and all of you here today are proof that this is the space where we can be successful together. And a shout out to the people who registered and I knew couldn't make it live, but are going to be watching this recording later. We appreciate you. So thank you. And Sydney Monaghan, our Director of Programs.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Jamie. And no, you didn't blow up our spot. I think that you shined a great light on what's going on while absolutely keeping it as real as you needed to. So thank you. Again, my name is Sydney Monaghan. I am the Director of Programs here at Swipe Out Hunger, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit about our data that we collected last year from our campus leader survey and some of the information that we collected from our student leader survey. So without further ado, here we are. We'll be there. Okay, so starting off fresh, one of the great things that we are super proud of is the growth in our campuses. Last year, we ended the fiscal year with 897 campus partners, averaging about 100 new partners a year. This hits home a little bit different, mainly because about 3-4 years ago, right around the pandemic, we were nearly half this size. And I say that with pride. Maybe I shouldn't be so prideful, but I say it with pride because we don't do any recruiting and we don't do any major marketing. We're not out searching for partners. So it says to me that campuses are searching and looking for resources and support, and they find us, and then they're stuck with us. But they find us and they come to us and they organically connect to us to get what they need. Amongst the growth of the organization, we have seen a substantial growth in our minority serving institutions, Hispanic serving institutions, as well as our historically Black colleges and universities. As an HBCU alum, I will never not say that, sorry. As an HBCU alum, I am super proud to have this be a growing point for us because we know what the makeup of our higher education landscape is in this country. And we are so proud of ourselves that our network reflects that, right? So minority serving institutions represent about 25% of our network. Minority serving institutions represent about 25% of the national makeup of higher education institutions. So we're just happy to make sure that we are being as equitable and as representative as we should be, and that we are speaking on behalf of those who allow us and trust us to speak on behalf of them with integrity. And so this is why that was important to me. I'm really, really proud of that. And we'll keep it growing. We're already, crossed the 900 at this point, but you'll hear about that next year at the Impact Report Town Hall. And then of the 897 partners that we had in our network last year, those who responded to our campus leader survey, I'm giving you all the shady eyes going to respond this year. 8.5 million meals were enabled. I say we because I want to join the team with you all, but our partners served close to 700,000 students. And so we are very proud that then equated to 8.5 million meals. We asked our campuses, what were some of the strong suits? I mean, what were some of the challenges and what were some of the wins? And to no one's surprise, the consistent challenge is funding. We know that. We know that that is the consistent challenge. But because you all are amazing, the consistent win that everyone reported was that they were able to expand their program. How amazing is that when 39% of the campuses that reported that they rely on donations? Not a budget line of their organization, not a grant from a funder. They are relying on the goodness of the people in their community. They were able to expand their programming with donations. That's amazing in itself. And I just want, to Jamie's point, I just want you all to give yourselves a pat on the back and celebrate that win, because I don't think that that's celebrated enough. It's reported. I don't know if it's celebrated though. So take a bow for that one. Because I really want you all to recognize that while you were expanding the programs and making, the most out of the less, you also reported that the median allotted budget for your students this year had decreased substantially. The national average of cost per meal per student per year, I always stumble on that one, is $3.99. Our campuses reported that they were allotted to spend a median of $1.95 per student per meal per year. I want to pause and let that sit with you all because I want you to know how amazing it is to be doing this work when you have been stripped of every possible resource it is to do this with, with the full capacity that you should be able to do it with. So thank you for the work that you do, but I definitely want to make sure that I am shining a light on what you all are sharing that you're dealing with and how you're still trying to make it happen, but that you're sharing it. And we appreciate that. Thank you. And so we'll get back to a lighter note. Okay. Last year we did really, really well. This is one of my, well, the next slide is my favorite, but this was the second favorite of mine because I'm very proud of the in-kind partnerships that we had this year. We had really strong, great partnerships. They helped us connect our partners with everything from donated refrigerators to donated period products to discounts on pantry management software. Everything that you can think of. We were out beating the pavement, connecting, and partners were coming to us and saying, hey, I want to be able to help. I want to be able to connect. Some of our partners gave out 30 refrigerators and wouldn't even let us say their name publicly, wouldn't even let us thank them publicly. That's how much they said, I just want to do this. I want to be able to help. And so we are really, really proud of the partnerships that Swipe Out Hunger has been able to connect our partners to. Because again, the work that you're doing, and we know how stretched thin you are. You may not have the capacity to go and searching for donated refrigerators. But that is why we're here. We also are here to celebrate that this was our fourth grant Swipe Out Hunger's grant cycle. And last year we gave out $208,500 in grants to several of you all, plenty of you all, and you have done amazing with that amount. Absolutely would have loved to be able to give out more. And we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep beating down the doors of people and telling them to help, give us money to help. But we absolutely wanted to make sure that we keep the swipe grant cycles going. And so shameless plug, swipe grant cycle is open right now. Please apply. It's, closed October 15th. Shameless plug, sorry. But it was a really great swipe grant cycle, and we look forward to doing it again this year. Okay, now this is my favorite slide. Because of course, who are we without students? And so I'm really, really excited about the way that Swipe Out Hunger continues to center the student voice. We make sure that we never forget that, who we do this for and why we do it. And I love the students because the students have come up with my new favorite slogan about nothing about us without us. That is my favorite slogan right now from students. And so we connect with students and we make sure that we give them an opportunity to share their story. And while, this campus leader from, APU share how she's able to feel connected and build community with Swipe Out Hunger, especially, again, we recognize that sometimes you all are spread really, really thin as you do this work. This student made sure to acknowledge that she's able to feel connected to others who are doing the work, because sometimes you can feel alone. I worked at a college food pantry and I was alone. No one understood what I was talking about. No one understood the struggle. So I'm glad that we're able to provide this space. And we have plenty of students who share these things. And as we talk about students, I definitely want to make sure that we highlight that one of our main focuses, is that right? One of our focuses this year is, and every year, is to make sure that we are fighting this narrative of what the average college student is. We love all students, But this narrative that the average college student is the 18-year-old high school graduate fresh off the graduation stage is just not true. The average student is a 26-year-old person who is a caregiver in one way or another. Parents, kids, I don't care. They are caring for someone. And most likely they are working. This is harmful because it allows people to diminish and negate the struggle that students are feeling. I want to make sure that we continue to give students the voice to speak up about what they're dealing with and what they are facing as the adults they are. So I don't want to, beat that dead horse, but I will. I just want to make sure that we shed a light on students. We got plenty of feedback from students on what their actual barriers are: transportation, living in a food desert, clearly the cost of food. I want to make sure that, we all recognize that Swipe Out Hunger will always be student-centered. No matter what happens, no matter what goes on, Swipe Out Hunger is always going to center and amplify the student voice. And I'm going to leave it there because I will get on a tangent.
Thank
And
you,
pass it
Sydney,
over
so
to
much. Vanessa, you're up. Tell us
I
about advocacy.
am. Thank you, Sydney. And yes, I'm going to be covering the amazing advocacy that Swipe Out Hunger has been able to support and influence alongside so many different groups of people that I'm excited to celebrate. So first, let's start with the numbers because everybody wants to know the numbers. And it's such a good place to really showcase what we're focusing on this year and for the years to come. Okay. So for fiscal year 2025, we support in securing 5.9 million in hunger-free campus funding nationwide, which is already an immense amount of money. But we really want to champion that about 1 million of those dollars were first-time funding opportunities. The rest of the states have been running their programs for multiple years. The reason why this is so important, y'all, is this is a large example of us maintaining the funding that we already have. And as Jamie had stated, there are lots of changing in our landscape, and maintaining and sustainability is one of the largest successes that we can be in today. Overall, that brings our total for hunger-free campus to date to be 24.7 million, which is a huge milestone that reflects both growth and, like I said, the commitment to sustainability. Alrighty. Okay, so let's talk about some exciting policy victories, okay? So we've had several, but I really want to showcase two that I think really embody not only what Swipe Out Hunger stands for, but what is really going to be pushing the movement forward. Alrighty. So in the state of Virginia, they passed 500,000 in funding signed by the governor in April. Then it was allocated to the State Council of Higher Education in Virginia, who is currently managing the rollout process. In Michigan, in 2024, there was secured funding for 500,000, 500,000 in funding for a pilot program. And this pilot program was allocated to campuses in this fiscal year. What does that look like, guys? It looks like a full manifestation of in-person programming and food banks and different innovations for our campuses. I want to really champion Michigan State University as an example. This funding opened up a brand new food pantry for them, which improved resources, and it was recently celebrated with an amazing ribbon cutting ceremony that was attended by one of our very own, Jay. And other campuses are currently receiving and rolling out their funding. Campuses include Northern Michigan State, Newcomb Community College, and Grand Rapids Community College. So great job, guys. They are truly putting the work in at the ground level, and this is all from advocacy efforts. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the wins. Let's talk about how those happen, because that's one of the most important things that we do here is find ways, like Jamie had said, sometimes the traditional way works, but we're really finding that we need to be agile and creative in the ways that these new funding opportunities happen. So let me tell you about these amazing ones. So one of the most inspiring parts of our work is seeing these true change makers in action. Virginia, want to highlight them. If you have time, go to our website because there are some really amazing media links that showcase what I'm going to tell you about right now. Okay. So Virginia held a lobby day where dozens of students from across the state came to Richmond to meet legislators in support of hunger-free campus. Together, they held a huge rally that drew media attention, highlighting both student leadership and the public importance for this issue. When I tell you guys, if you have time, go check it out. It is extremely moving, seeing everyone come together for this united purpose and truly making an impact through lived experience stories, through working together. It is beautiful. Another thing I want to highlight is Ohio. In Ohio, the Hunger Free Campus Coalition, which is a collaborative space, brought together, built up of students, faculty, and staff of over 10 campuses. Coming together resulted in a student-led and community, faculty, and staff-supported movement advocating for food security on campus. So why am I highlighting these two specifically? Virginia showed the power of students, leadership by dozens of students leading a lobby day, meeting with legislators and rallying public support. In Ohio, they demonstrated the strength of a coalition building brought together by students, staff, and a whole bunch of community partners. Together, these examples prove that the strongest impact comes from when students and communities drive the movement forward together.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. You guys can find the link to that video. I was just trying to find it and put it in the chat for you, but it's in our impact report under the advocacy section. There's a link with like a press play button and it'll take you to that awesome video Vanessa was just talking about that advocacy day. So thanks for sharing that, Vanessa. Thank you so much to Jamie, to Sydney, to Vanessa for just sharing such a comprehensive look at our mission, these issues we're facing, our solutions, and the impact this whole entire community is having together. We have a couple prepared questions to ask the panelists, so we're going to move over into the prepared questions section. I have two prepared, and again, I'll do a time check after this if we have a couple questions. I see a couple questions in the chat, so hopefully we can get to them. And if not, we can email you directly to get you the responses and answers that you need. But yeah, this first question, there's two. Love to give you an opportunity for each of you to answer. I'd love to hear what you're most proud or what you would consider our biggest highlight or success this year is for each of your departments. Sydney, do you want to go first?
Sure. Of course I do. I always want to go first. For me, my proudest moment, again, I can't help it. I'm an HBCU grad. So to see an increase in the minority serving institutions and the Hispanic serving institutions, as well as the historically Black colleges and university was, one of those things. It made me proud. Every time I saw one join, it just made me proud. I'm big on equity, and so everyone's voice deserves to be heard and their work deserves to be valued. And of course, the students deserve to be supported. So that was my proudest moment.
Thanks, Sydney. Really appreciate that response. Jamie, would you like to go next?
Sure. I know Vanessa has been thinking of this too. Mine's short and sweet because I talked about it. The National Coalition for College Students Essential Needs, pulling together a coalition is not for the faint of heart. It takes time and energy and follow-up and communication and transparency and accountability. And the team all stepped up in a really amazing way. And so did the rest of the organizations. The planning committee is like 12 people strong, and it is in addition to their full-time jobs. It's really incredible. So I'm pretty proud of that.
My biggest win, I would say. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it. I was just gonna say it's so cool to watch the coalition work, and I'm so thankful to be involved in it as well. But Vanessa, please, yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just so excited about this. But truly, okay. So one of the really amazing things that I touched on earlier was how we're looking forward and we're looking at being agile and creative. And one of the things that, like I said, I'm new. One of the things that really impressed me was Michigan's ability to pitch a pilot program, which in the past, pilot programs, the goal is you want to secure sustainable funding, right? So sometimes pilot programs can come kind of with a caveat or a concern that it's not going to get refunded. But Michigan went ahead, went with the pilot program and did so well that they secured $1 million in funding this year. So really amazing things. It truly does show that when we're creative and we tailor our advocacy to the community and ask for community ideas and community involvement, that it actually is the best investment. Very exciting.
Thank you so much, all of you, for answering that question. The next one's a little bit more fun too. What is something you're looking forward to over the next year or beyond in our Swipe Out Hunger's work, in our pillars? Like, what are you most excited about?
I guess it's public now, so I can say it. Two things. We are partnering with some really great organizations. So I'm really, really proud of the partnership that we're doing with Trellis to get more of the student voice. We're partnering with Trellis. They do an amazing student survey every year, and we've partnered with them to add more food security questions to that survey. So I'm super excited about that. We do pretty good with our student survey, but we are going to love the reach that Trellis has. So I'm really, really, really excited about that one. And then I'm also excited about the Oikos program. And so we are super excited to be partnered with Oikos to implement the nutrition sponsorship program at a couple of schools in the southern region. So I'm excited about that one too.
Thanks, Sydney. Everyone should check out our social media about our Oikos partnership launch if you haven't already. I'll talk a little bit more about our handles. Sydney, if there's a way for someone to get involved in the work who's on the call today, how should they get involved?
Say it one more time, I'm sorry.
Any of the audience members on the call, if they're not currently involved in our work, is there any suggestions you would make to people who want to get involved?
Of course. If you are looking to join our network and become a partner, we have a partnership page and we can put it in the chat. So just join our partnership. Look at our partnership page and Tech Justice and reflect on that. If you have more questions, you can email us at programs@swipehunger.org. And I would love to be able to jump on a call to, do a little explaining if you are still confused about a few things. If you're a corporate partner, no, I'm joking, but you email Renee. But yeah.
Thanks, Sid. Vanessa, what are you most excited about and how can folks get involved in the work that the advocacy team is doing?
Great question. I kind of started talking about it and I'm excited to expand on it more. I am most excited to see how communities look towards one another to tailor their solutions. Like Jamie had said, we are working on a new department, which is going to be community engagement. And that is the idea based in solutions that are sustainable and tailored to each community. And this is all stemming from this large shift in policy. And we are just seeing non-traditional ways of getting this funding, getting these kinds of policy changes. And what I'm really excited to see is what communities are doing so that we can create more education on how to do these policy changes in whatever way tailors their community or their need. So that's what I'm really excited for. And how can you get involved? You can also go to our website. There is an advocacy page where you're going to be able to reach out to us there. I am a little new, so I don't have the email on me. Would someone like to inform everyone?
I got you, Vanessa. We also have
Thank you.
advocacy@swipehunger.org. So
Makes sense.
programs@swipehunger.org and then advocacy@swipehunger.org. We try to make it very simple because we really want you to get connected to us.
Thank you, Sydney.
I'm going to improvise a little bit here, but as someone who does external partnerships and oversees our communications as an organization, I'm really, really excited about this narrative change pillar and how we're demystifying what a college student is, elevating what a modern learner is, and really looking at, how it is not a personal failure, but a systemic issue that we need to address. So that's something I'm very, very excited about. Jamie, did you have anything to add? I know we probably covered a lot of it. No
I'm
pressure.
excited for everything. I think the name of the game is we don't have a crystal ball, right? So I'm pausing my excitement to see everything that comes up in the coming year and just trying to maintain enthusiasm for how we're growing and changing. But I think our external collaborations are exciting. I think our narrative change work is exciting. I think the growth of our community engagement and student-centric initiatives is going to be exciting, but I'm still waiting for somebody to give me that crystal ball, Renee. I don't know if it's on back order.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Got to balance it all. Um, we got some challenges, we got some exciting times ahead. And I just want to say thank you to everyone again. You are an extension of our very small and mighty punching above our weight class team we have at Swipe Out Hunger. So just thank you again. Thank you for the panelists here today for answering these questions. I'm just did a time check. We have a little bit of time to answer a handful of questions. I know, Sadaf, you've been gracious enough to be keeping track of some of them. I'm gonna take a moment just to make sure I'm collecting. I think there's been 3 specifically we want to ask. Give me 1 second. There's a question around Pantry Soft partnership, and is there support for that through Swipe? And I'm going to let Sydney answer this question. I know she can.
Thank you. Yeah, so we have an exclusive partnership with Pantry Soft, where our partners receive an exclusive discount. I saw who asked the question. I can send that out, but also I would really, really encourage you all to join our Slack community, because it's where we keep, our hub of all of the partnership perks, right? All of the exclusive discounts that comes along with being a partner of Swipe Out Hunger. But yes, if you are working with a Pantry Soft representative, once you let them know that you are a Swipe Out Hunger member, they will apply a discount, even retroactively. If you're already a Pantry Soft customer and you need to go back and get your discount, they will do that as well. If they don't, call me.
Thanks, Sydney. And yes, if you apply for a Swipe grant and you are a recipient of a Swipe grant, you can use that for inventory software to fund that. So please, if you're a partner and you have need, obey by the deadline. Make sure you're a campus partner. You've completed the campus leader survey, but yes, we have that grant cycle open at this time. We're very excited to help fund your incredible work on the ground. Thanks, Sydney. Our next question, I think I'm going to ask Jamie this question. Can you talk a little bit more about how Medicaid cuts are going to impact students and our work more broadly? It's a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. When I was talking about SNAP earlier, really the cuts are to all public benefits. There's some child care cuts. There are TANF, WIC, SNAP, of course, as I've mentioned, and Medicaid is going to be impactful to our students who are enrolled as well. All of these public cuts are going to result in students having to make that decision of, do I stay enrolled or do I enroll, versus how do I either work or make really difficult basic needs decisions in order to survive. So while survival is mandatory in higher education, and ultimately we want to get to people being thriving, I'm worried that all of these cuts are going to force people into a survival mode. So just so everybody knows, the average age student is over 24 now. 80% are working in addition to going to school. 1 in 5 are caretakers. That changing demographic means that you have more people accessing public benefits like Medicaid, like TANF, like WIC, in order to pursue their academic interests. So these cuts will directly affect people who are currently enrolled, whether it's part-time, full-time, many of them working in addition to going to school. It will be impactful. I wanted to hone in specifically on SNAP because as a food serving organization, that's the one that is most impactful right now. But certainly, like my friend here, Josh at About Fresh, that works to gain nutritious foods through services like Medicaid, there's going to be a lack of access and, of course, a lack of nutritious foods. So it's going to be a ripple effect for sure. Thanks, Josh, for asking.
Thanks, Jamie. What a great answer. I think someone had a quick follow-up question to Sydney's response around Pantry Soft's discount. Sydney, you want to just close the loop on that quick before we move on?
Yeah, absolutely. So our partners are really, really great. So no one's going to make you jump through hoops to prove that you're a partner. But if for whatever reason they do, there is a campus partner map on our website. All of our partners are listed on that map. And so usually your name, the institution is listed on the partner map, and that's how it goes. But I promise none of our partners should be giving anyone a hard time to prove that they're a partner, because we don't have any network fees or anything. So it's free to be a partner. So I don't imagine they would give you a hard time. But if they do, again, call me.
Thanks, Sid. We update the campus map on our website monthly. So if you're a new partner, just feel free to use programs at swipehunger.org. There's even teams at swipehunger.team at swipehunger.org we'll respond to as well. We're more than happy to help you and get any sort of verification you need if you need it. And I think we had one more formal question. Carolyn asked, are you connected to FRAC, the Food Research and Action Center? Because they're a great resource for data and advocacy. And one of you want to answer that?
I'm going to jump in because yes, we are connected at FRAC. We are connected to so many amazing peer organizations, and we use their research and data pretty regularly. I will say that with the recent announcement from our current administration that they'll no longer be serving programs and services to track hunger numbers in our country, our reliance on our research organizations like FRAC, Hope Center, Urban Institute, and Trellis is going to become increasingly more important. And while Swipe Out Hunger isn't formally a research organization, we do collect a lot of amazing data. To Sydney's earlier point about what she's excited about, that we partner with other folks in that raw anonymous data in order to construct really useful statistics. So again, because our administration is no longer tracking that information or publicizing it, we will need to rely on the nonprofit sector to provide it. So yes, we already partner, and it will become more important that we partner.
Thanks so much, Jamie. I think that was right as of like where the cutoff was in terms of everyone having questions. We had probably time for one more if anyone wants to ask any. And if not, I'll give our closing remarks. I'll give just a hot 15 seconds if anyone has any questions. Well, thank you all so much for your engaged participation. Thank you to my lovely Swipe colleagues who are here hosting with me today. And again, calling y'all into action. Everyone who's on this call, spread the word. I just want to say thank you for being here again today, for being part of this movement. Your time, your energy, your support, whether you're a student, most importantly, a campus partner, a donor, a community member. Hundreds of thousands of students have had access over the last 12 months to food that they need. Obviously, there's still greater need. And we're gonna try to meet that challenge with you guys. So thank you. You've really helped turn this mission into tangible impact. And that's incredible. But as you all know, as we've talked about, the need and the work isn't done, and food security is still one of the biggest hurdles to completing a higher education. And together, I truly believe we can change that. We're proving that. We got to keep going. And be part of what's next. Check out this impact report. It's listed here on this webpage. I don't need to read it out to you. Subscribe to our newsletters. We have monthly newsletters, quarterly newsletters, swipeouthunger.org/subscribe. We're present on social media. Thanks so much, Maddie, our intern. TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can find some of us who are more vocal personally, but at swipeouthunger is our handle name on those social media platforms. And then if you're able to make a donation, that is also a wonderful way. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that in really helping us reach even more students over the next year. We have some big goals and we're really excited about them, and we need funds to power that. So thank you. And you can always email us directly if you're not quite sure who to get to. There's team@swipehunger.org to get involved or to ask your questions we might not have gotten to today. Thank you so much for being here with us and for standing with us in this work. And I hope everyone has a really wonderful day. We'll be sending out this recording after this is over, probably tomorrow. So thank you all. Really appreciate you.
Thank you, everyone.